Good morning, everyone. After a busy holiday travel weekend, respiratory virus season is ramping up across most of the country. Forecasting from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suggests there will be about the same number of hospitalizations as last season. Mandy Gaither has a look at the latest data and how to keep you and your family healthy.
Across the U.S., flu, COVID-19, and RSV are spreading.
It is that time of year, and we know that all of the respiratory viral illnesses are starting to ramp up.
Flu cases are rising across most of the country, especially in Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, and South Carolina. While outpatient visits for flu-like illnesses are lower than this time last year, they're still higher than the previous 4 seasons. COVID-19 hospital admissions and emergency department visits are also on the rise again after a few weeks of decline.
I was in the hospital on call this holiday weekend, and I'm certainly starting to see more people being hospitalized, mainly with COVID.
Dr. Kristen England with Cleveland Clinic says it's not too late to protect you and your family through vaccination. More than a third of adults and children have gotten a flu shot this year. When it comes to the new COVID-19 vaccine, nearly 16% of adults and just over 6% of children have gotten it, and nearly 15% of adults ages 60 and up have gotten the new RSV vaccine.
Vaccinations will always be the key way to prevent the transmission of any of these respiratory viral illnesses.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Now, Dr. England says if you suspect you may have COVID-19, it's still important to do an at-home test. So if you're aware if you have the virus, and you can take proper precautions to avoid spreading the illness, including staying home when you're sick and masking up if you have to go out in public. Now, the American Academy of Pediatrics is sounding the alarm on excessive noise that children and teenagers are exposed to, warning that it might have some permanent consequences. Nick Calloway talks with the lead author about the worst culprits. Take a look.
The world is a loud place. We are constantly exposed to excessive noise levels. Some of it is unavoidable. Others, not so much. Most parents have given in at some point to those devices.
It's hard to get these things away from them.
My daughter has earbuds in her ears at all times, unless she's lost them.
Experts say those earbuds are usually too loud. A new study from the American Academy of Pediatrics shows that many kids are exposed to potentially harmful noise from infancy, and the effects can last a lifetime.
Once hearing is lost, that is generally permanent.
Dr. Sophie Balk is a pediatrician at the Children's Hospital at Montefiore and the lead author of the new study on noise.
It could be immediately after like a loud blast, like an explosion, but more likely it's due to repeated exposures over time to less loud noises, but noises that are still too loud.
Like those headphones. The study also noted concerns about infants' exposure to sleep machines or sound machines.
If you are going to use a sleep machine, set it at the lowest volume possible, for the shortest time possible, and set it as far away from the baby as possible.
In addition to turning down the volume, experts say it's a good idea for kids and teens to take listening breaks and use earbuds with caution. Nick Calloway, CBS News, Montclair, New Jersey.
And the American Academy of Pediatrics says anytime you must raise your voice to speak to someone an arm lengths away, that is considered too loud of an environment for both adults and children. All right, the difference between life and death in a critically sick child can often come down to proper training, equipment, and supplies. Janet Shamlian shows us what emergency rooms across the country are doing to save their youngest patients.
He got really tired and he stopped breathing and I couldn't wake him up.
It's every parent's fear, their child's life in danger.
Any medications in your purse, Mom?
In this case, it's a simulated emergency.
What kind of things could we work on or do better?
Part of new pediatric training at Grand River Health, a hospital in Rifle, Colorado.
What is the motivation for this hospital or any others to do this?
I think the statistics speak for themselves. A 40% reduction in morbidity mortality for kids in ERs that are pediatric ready is huge.
Critically ill children are almost 4 times more likely to die in hospital emergency rooms with the lowest pediatric readiness scores, according to a study published in the journal Pediatrics. In most states, readiness programs are voluntary.
A hospital trade group has come out and said it is not fair to expect every hospital in the country to have expertise in specialized pediatric care. What would you say to them?
I would say that it's certainly something every hospital should be doing.
Emergency equipment and medicine is different for children.
So this is our pediatric code card.
At Grand River Health, they've color-coded trachea tubes and other supplies based on a child's weight, something Kaylani Rust is grateful for.
We knew it was urgent.
What was your fear level at that point?
High.
Yeah.
Yeah, very high.
When Tucker Rust, a 4-year-old with diabetes, became critically ill, the emergency room was ready.
I think it's incredible. I think the biggest thing for us that we love about it is we don't have to travel to Children's Hospital for Tucker to get seen.
So what should parents do if there's no pediatric trauma unit nearby? Experts say most pediatric emergencies can be handled appropriately in any ER. So parents should take their child to the closest hospital to be stabilized, then advocate for a transfer if necessary.
Do you have any doubt that the changes you've made here have saved the lives of children?
Absolutely not.
Giving young patients like Tucker a fighting chance. For Eye on America, Janet Shamlian, Rifle, Colorado.
Still to come, holiday lights, Christmas trees. Make sure your home is safe. We'll show you coming up next on Mid Morning. All right, welcome back. With the holidays coming up, savvy shoppers are turning something old into something new, and it's big business. Used clothing sales are expected to exceed $77 billion by 2025, more than double the amount from 4 years ago. As Elise Preston shows us, stores credit thrifty Gen Z buyers, the environment, and TikTok.
$30 and they're Gucci and they're fabulous and they're yes.
One person's trash is another person's trend.
I found Dior, I found lace, I found vintage Harley boots in my size, vintage Tommy Hilfiger, and of course Juicy Couture.
Thrifting TikTok or Thrift Talk boasts billions of views and counting. We tagged along with influencer Macy Elaney.
A really good thrift tip is to practice self-control.
She teaches her nearly 500,000 followers how to buy efficiently at thrift stores, estate sales, and yard sales. Her typical shopping trip is less than $40.
Growing up, I couldn't imagine that I would be able to afford pieces like that I looked through fashion magazines lusting over. And then I started going to the thrift store and realized that, oh my God, these items are here. It's not just a random track and field marathon t-shirt that someone donated years ago.
With some discounts of up to 90% off retail, attitudes about thrifting have changed, with secondhand goods now seen as better for your budget and the environment.
Why do you think there have been so many emerging consumers?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a generational shift in consumption. When you look at the young, they care about the planet, they care about sustainability, they care about making good choices for their futures.
Top fashion designers are also taking note of the trend. More than 120 retailers now resell their clothes. For Macy Elaney, fast fashion will never beat the thrill of the hunt.
It's been really
Elise Preston, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That isn't just a little bit more accepted.
For some shoppers, it's time to ring in the high-tech holidays. This season, AI is set to help shoppers search for the perfect present. Gloria Pazimo has more on how and where AI is being used.
Buying real gifts with the help of artificial intelligence.
We have this new Google AI-powered gifting tool.
As Lillian Rincon with Google Shopping explains, when buyers engage with Google's generative AI, they can discover items with just a few words.
I'm shopping for my 7-year-old daughter, who's very picky, and she wants to be a scientist and inventor, and so I can actually query for exactly that.
Thomas Germain from Gizmodo says the more these AI tools learn, the better it is for the shopper's experience.
Right now, you kind of have to know what you're looking for. You need to know the name of the product or have a really accurate description. With these AI tools, the better that they get, the idea is ultimately they'll be able to help do the thinking for you.
But shoppers, beware. Experts say if you opt in,
it gives powerful corporations a lot more power, the power to make a prediction, the power to understand what is going to be the most effective bid in a transaction, what price you're willing to pay.
As for how some of those gifts get to you, AI is helping with that too.
In this holiday season, some customers will receive their packages that are picked packed or sorted by robots.
Peter Chen from Covariant explains that AI-powered robots can pump out around 3,000 packages an hour. Human hands, about 300 to 400. In New York, I'm Gloria Pasmino.
Well, it may be on your wish list, a new car. There's a lot to consider when buying a new vehicle, including finding one that's not going to break down on you. Chanel Call went to Consumer Reports for a look at some of the most reliable vehicles.
Keith Berry is taking a spin on the Consumer Reports test track in a BMW X5, one of this year's most reliable vehicles. Researchers came to that conclusion after analyzing data and surveys from tens of thousands of car owners.
Responding to us and telling us what went wrong on their vehicles. Our statisticians crunch those numbers and they can predict how reliable a brand's going to be and in many cases how reliable an individual vehicle is going to be.
The BMW received a reliability score of 82. But Toyota dominates the rest of the top 5, with the 4Runner and Camry hybrid earning this year's top scores. Toyota's Alex Sun says the Camry's been offering a hybrid version since 2007.
And gets up to 52 miles per gallon.
It's not just Camrys. Consumer Reports found hybrids from a number of manufacturers scored high.
What makes them more reliable?
Yeah, they're having fewer issues. What's really interesting is that even though hybrid vehicles are more complex, they're 26% more reliable than gasoline-powered cars on average.
Overall, electric vehicles don't fare as well as hybrids, but the report shows that's changing.
The good news about EVs is that we're seeing they're getting better and better every year. They're better than last year.
Out of 30 brands, EV maker Tesla is number 14 for reliability, but the top 2 brands are Toyota and the company's luxury line, Lexus.
Lexus's attention to that detail that they've been building up over the years, that our members tell us that their Lexuses don't have problems.
And buying a vehicle that doesn't have problems can save you thousands of dollars down the road. Chanel Call, CBS News, Colchester, Connecticut.
Millions of families are decorating their homes with Christmas trees, and we are too here. They're also decorating with holiday lights and festive candles, but some of those decorations can lead to a disaster. Skylar Henry got a first-hand look at how quickly things can go wrong.
In this demonstration, the Christmas tree on the left has been watered regularly. The one on the right is dry. A hidden fire source underneath is used to try and light both. The watered tree never catches fire, but flames spread through the dry tree quickly and move to the ceiling. In just seconds, the room is engulfed in flames.
In an instant, you turn from a happy setting to your entire house is on fire.
Alexander Hohensarik is chair of the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission and says candles are also a potential hazard as seen in this demo. Candles cause thousands of fires every year, with December being the peak month. Faulty Christmas lights are also a fire hazard. Experts say make sure to avoid using cracked bulbs, check lights for frayed wires, and never overload electrical outlets.
We also see a lot of trips to the emergency room.
During the holiday season, the CPSC says there are about 160 Christmas decorating-related injuries each day. More than 40% of those incidents involve falls. In 2021, Ken Wilson was putting up outdoor Christmas lights when he fell 11 feet onto the concrete and fractured 6 ribs.
We want people to actually get together, have fun, but to be safe.
Taking a few precautions like keeping a Christmas tree watered can help make sure your holiday home looks like this and not like this. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Rockville, Maryland.
And experts say when you buy a real Christmas tree, make sure it is not already dry. And if you're buying an artificial tree, make sure it's fire resistant. Well, it was a rough start for the national Christmas tree with winds, but the nation's tree is steady and secure. The tree lighting took place recently. It is an annual White House tradition. Dionne Warwick sang for the crowd. Country singer Mickey Guyton was the ceremony's host. This year's tree is a 40-foot Norway spruce from West Virginia's National Forest. And the Rockefeller Christmas tree's dazzling lights were switched on to mark the beginning of the holiday season in New York City last week. Drone footage shows the countdown to the tree's lighting and the crowds cheering. The 91st annual event featured this year's 75-foot Norway spruce with more than 5 miles of lights. Kelly Clarkson hosted the ceremony, and there were performances from folks like Chloe Bailey, David Foster, Darlene Love, and Catherine McPhee. All right, when we come back, a possible threat to Alaska's bald eagles. We'll tell you why next on Mid-Morning. Welcome back, everyone. Environmentalists are warning that Alaska's bald eagle population is under threat due to a plan for new copper mine in the Panhandle. Jonathan Vigliogli traveled to Alaska to see for himself.
Every November, an American icon returns to Alaska's Chilkat River to roost.
It's akin to being on the Serengeti and watching the migration of the wildebeest.
The town of Haines is the gateway to the largest bald eagle habitat in the U.S. This wildlife preserve, a migratory mecca.
This is the greatest concentration of bald eagles anywhere on the planet. At times, we've counted up to 4,000 individuals.
It's a phenomenon photographer Mario Benassi says is made possible by geothermal springs, which prevent the river from freezing, leaving the salmon that run through it ripe for picking. But upstream, there's a potential new threat.
It could be the end of this singularity and this gathering.
The state recently permitted a mining company to explore extracting copper. It's a move the governor says will create jobs. But environmentalists are sounding the alarm.
There's basically no mines out there that don't pollute.
Clean water advocate and Haines resident Gershon Cohen is most concerned that there might be toxic runoff damaging the Chilkat. According to the EPA, mining has contributed to the contamination of 40% of the country's rivers.
If the mine were to happen, anything would happen to the salmon, basically everything else collapses.
Including, Cohen says, the eagle's habitat. In an email to CBS News, American Pacific Mining, the company leading the project, said it's committed to operating responsibly and respecting protected areas and species, including the bald eagles. Most Native Alaskans, who also depend on salmon, are not sold.
On a good day years ago, how many salmon would you expect to get in just one of these trips with the net?
So probably 20 to 30 fish is what you could probably do.
Hank and Kim Strong's empty net highlights what studies show. Climate change is already taking a toll on the fish population.
Why take that risk? Do you gamble? I don't go to Las Vegas to gamble. I don't want to gamble here either.
For Eye on America, Jonathan Vigliotti, Haines, Alaska.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. A town tasty enough to eat. We'll show you coming up next on Mid-Morning. All right, welcome back. This is better than a Hallmark movie. A gingerbread village made up of 800 home-baked, handmade buildings went on display in Chelsea Market in New York City this week. John Lovich built this exhibit called Gingerbread Lane in his home using 4,000 pounds of candy, about 6,000 egg whites, and just under 1,000 pounds of gingerbread. He's the Guinness World Record holder for the largest gingerbread village. All right, Sunday marked the 46th annual Kennedy Center Honors, which will air on WCBI on December 27th. It's always an iconic group, and this year is no exception. Here's a look at the big event.
I say a little prayer for you. This year's Kennedy Center Honors began with recognition for music legend Dionne Warwick, including a performance of her classic I Say a Little Prayer by 2022 honoree Gladys Knight. I love you so, my sister. Producer Clive Davis, a longtime collaborator of Warwick's, heralded her as someone whose talent was simply undeniable.
The lexicon of her hits is as great and as deep as any artist who has ever recorded.
Comic relief lets you show off your talents, riding a horse while you battle Jack Palance.
2018 honoree Lin-Manuel Miranda launched the tributes to comedian and actor Billy Crystal by channeling Crystal's 9 times hosting the Academy Awards.
Making us laugh on that show with 3 letters, courting Meg Ryan in cable knit sweaters.
And Meg Ryan didn't miss a chance to roast her When Harry Met Sally co-star over that one famous scene.
I've actually never been around anyone who made faking an orgasm easier.
As we celebrate 50 years of hip-hop, Queen Latifah became the first female rapper to receive Kennedy Center honors with a musical tribute for the ages, featuring other greats like Yo-Yo, MC Lyte, and Moni Love. Plus, a touching speech from another hip-hop giant, Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Missy Elliott.
But what Latifah has taught us, Queen Latifah, forgive me, is unity, to believe in yourself, and to love a black woman from infinity to infinity.
Internationally acclaimed opera singer Renee Fleming, known as America's soprano, was also recognized Sunday with a vocal quartet performing an aria for which she became famous, Song to the Moon. Rounding out the honorees was the last surviving Bee Gee, Barry Gibb, who also wrote numerous chart-topping hits for other prominent artists, including fellow honoree Dionne Warwick. And the ceremony ended with a mashup of Gibb's greatest hits, performed by Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose.
Vladimir Dutin, CBS News.
And the full Kennedy Center Honors will air on Wednesday, December 27th, that is, at 8 p.m. right here on WCBI. And we'll be right back to wrap things up. All right, that's all of our time for today. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll see you back here next week.